Have you ever felt like something inside you is screaming for change, but you don't know where to start? You're in a place filled with laughter and music. Everything seems perfect, and yet a voice inside whispers, "This isn't the place." Not because there's a visible problem, but because you no longer fit that version of yourself. Or maybe it's a relationship everyone considers ideal, where nothing is missing except the essentials. That silent feeling of emptiness, as if you're playing a role you no longer want to play. If any of this resonates with you, stay, because what you're feeling is much more than confusion. It's a calling. Carl Jung, one of the most influential thinkers in psychology, said that what isn't made conscious is experienced as destiny, and that destiny often manifests as dissatisfaction, anxiety, or a deep desire for something different. But what's really happening is that your unconscious is beginning to speak to you, not with words, but with sensations, intuitions, uncomfortable silences that you can no longer ignore. True self-esteem isn't born from external approval, achievements, or praise. It's born from encountering yourself. And that encounter begins when you dare to stop distracting yourself, pleasing yourself, and running away. When you decide to look inward and ask yourself, who am I beneath all this? Jung called it individuation, the process of becoming you. Not the image others expect, but your true essence, without masks. It's a path that requires courage, because it forces you to face parts of yourself that you've denied or hidden for years. But there, right there, lies your greatest power. This journey isn't about fixing what's broken. It's about embracing what was rejected, about listening to that inner voice that tells you you deserve more, not from ego, but from authenticity. Because every time you choose your truth over appearances, you come closer to who you truly are. So if you've been feeling out of place lately, if there's something inside you asking for change, don't keep it quiet. You are not broken. You are awakening. And that awakening, though uncomfortable, is the beginning of your transformation. Let's walk this path together, because when you stop looking outside for answers and start looking at yourself honestly, everything begins to align. Not because the world changes, but because you change. And from there, everything else begins to make sense. Have you ever felt a desire to be careful with someone, but ignored them because they seemed nice? That's your subconscious trying to guide you. According to Jung, when you follow that inner voice, you get closer to your authenticity. When you ignore it, you distance yourself from yourself. Your self-esteem doesn't grow through likes or external approval, but by aligning yourself with that inner voice that knows who you are. How many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no? Like 32-year-old Laura, who remains in a job she hates because her family considers it stable, or 40-year-old Miguel, trapped in a toxic relationship for fear of failure. Both have disconnected from their essence, and this, little by little, damages their self-esteem. For Jung, this is no coincidence. It's the unconscious screaming to be heard. This unconscious stores your fears, desires, and unacknowledged truths. It doesn't speak with words, but with symbols, dreams, or physical sensations, like dreaming about running without moving forward, a sign that something in your life has you stuck. But listening isn't enough. You have to act. If, for example, you're in a friendship where you only give and never receive, and you feel a knot in your stomach when you see it, that discomfort is your shadow speaking. The shadow, another Jungian concept, represents the parts of you that you hide. Your anger, your unspoken boundaries, your need to say enough. This discomfort isn't punishment. It's an invitation to reconnect with yourself. Take a deep breath and think, is there someone in your life who makes you feel this way? Maybe it's a boss who always demands more than you can give, or a relative who criticizes everything you do. If you feel that inner yes, don't brush it off. Make a mental note of it, because I'm going to give you a powerful tip later to help you deal with that and take back your energy. And speaking of energy, Jung said that protecting it is essential to your self-worth. Every time you let someone drain it, you send a message to your unconscious mind, I'm not enough. But when you set boundaries, the message becomes, I respect myself. Isn't that powerful? Let's go deeper. Picture this. You're standing at a crossroads in your life. One path is easy. You stay in the same routines, around the same people, and nothing really changes. The other path is a mystery. It asks you to let go of something that no longer serves you, like a draining job or a relationship that feels heavy. Most people choose the easy road, but Jung believed real growth happens in the unknown. Why? Because that's where you face your shadow and find your strength. Think of Anna, a single mother. She left a toxic marriage, even though everyone said, stay for the kids. She was scared at first, but now she says she's never felt so free. Or think of Carlos, a man who quit his corporate job to start his small business. They both chose the dark path and found light. So, what does this have to do with your self-esteem? Everything. Carl Jung taught that when you dare to be yourself without masks, your confidence rises from within. You don't need anyone to praise you, you feel it for yourself. But don't confuse this with being reckless. It's really about asking, what am I holding on to that's stealing my peace? What could I release to feel more like myself? If this hits home, I invite you to do something right now. Leave a comment below saying, I want to let go, and share what it is you no longer want to carry. It won't just set you free, it might inspire someone else in this community to do the same. Let's talk about relationships, because that's where we often lose our self-worth. Have you ever met someone, and at first, everything feels amazing, but over time, you start feeling like you're disappearing? Jung would say, that's your unconscious sending you signs. Picture Carla, a 28-year-old woman. She dated a charming guy, but he constantly made her feel like her dreams of being an artist were unrealistic. At first, Carla tried hard to fit in, but one day, she looked at herself in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back. Or think of Daniel, a 35-year-old man who gave up his passion for music because his partner kept saying it wouldn't pay the bills. In both cases, their self-esteem faded because they were abandoning who they really were. Here's a practical tool from Jung, Conscious Reflection. Take 5 minutes a day. Grab a notebook and write down, how do I feel when I'm with this person? Do they inspire me to be more myself? Or do I feel the need to hide? If the answer makes you uncomfortable, don't ignore it. Jung believed the unconscious uses those emotions to reveal deeper truths. And if you choose to let go of that relationship, it's not giving up, it's choosing yourself. When Paula left her boyfriend, she started painting again, and now she sells her artwork. Daniel picked up his guitar and plays at a bar on weekends. Their self-esteem didn't just recover, it skyrocketed. Let's pause for a second. Think of one relationship in your life, friendship, romance, or even work. Does it make you shine, or does it dim your light? If you'd like, share it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you and watch this community grow. with your experiences. And if this message is stirring something inside you, give it a like and share it with someone who needs to hear it. This isn't just a video, it's a movement for living in deeper connection with ourselves. Now, what happens if you don't face those signs? The shadow grows. Jung explained that the more you ignore those uncomfortable parts of yourself, like the anger you suppress or the change you crave, the more control they have over your life. They show up as self-sabotage. Maybe you've argued with someone and later realized you overreacted to something small. That might be your shadow lashing out because you hadn't dealt with it. Or maybe you avoid speaking up in meetings out of fear of being judged, then beat yourself up later. That's your self-worth calling out to be reclaimed. One more insight. Jung believed in projection. That means what you see in others, what annoys or fascinates you, is often a reflection of you. If someone drives you crazy, ask yourself, what are they showing me about myself that I don't want to see? For instance, if it frustrates you that your friend is always late, maybe it's because you also fear not being enough, and you're projecting that fear onto her. This isn't about blaming yourself, it's about setting yourself free. Once you understand your projections, you stop giving your power away and begin to claim it back. So, how do you begin to integrate your shadow and raise your self-esteem? Jung would say, look at it without fear. If you feel jealous because someone has something you want, don't punish yourself. Ask, what part of me is longing to be expressed? If being ignored makes you angry, don't explode or bottle it up. Write down how you feel and figure out how to set a boundary. That's real. That's practical. I've done this myself. There was a time when I got upset because a coworker took credit for something I created. Instead of staying quiet, I spoke up. And what I discovered was that I also needed to value myself more. My self-worth took a big step forward that day. We're wrapping up this first part, but before we do, a question. What shadow are you ready to face? Maybe it's the fear of saying no, or the guilt of wanting more for yourself. If you feel brave, share it in the comments. This is just the beginning. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into how your relationships shape your self-worth and what you can do to protect it. I'll see you there. If you've made it this far, it's because some part of you is ready to go deeper. And I'm glad we're on this journey together. We just talked about facing your shadow, the parts of you that you hide, but they can actually lift your self-esteem with less effort, just like Jung said. Now let's explore how the relationships in your life, from your partner to your boss, are shaping how you see yourself and how to guard your energy so you can shine the way you were meant to. Because believe me, the people you choose to keep close are mirrors of your inner world. And Jung had a lot to say about that. Think about it. Have you ever left a conversation feeling smaller than when you entered? Maybe it was your aunt's comment at dinner that made you question your choices, or your co-worker's criticism that left you thinking, I'm not good enough. Jung would say, those moments aren't random. They're reflections of something you already carry inside, magnified by those around you. He called it projection. We see in others what we haven't yet accepted in ourselves, and if you don't deal with it, your self-esteem pays the price. Let me give you a realistic example. Imagine Maria, a 34-year-old woman. She has a lifelong friend who's always competing. If Maria says she got a promotion, her friend replies with something like, "That's great. I'm already saving up to buy a house." At first, Maria let it slide, but over time, she began to feel insecure, as if nothing she did was ever enough. Or think about Javier, a 42-year-old man, whose older brother always says, "You should be more realistic," every time he talks about his dream of opening a cafe. Both of them are allowing these relationships to quietly erode their confidence. Jung would tell us, it's not the other person's fault, it's your unconscious trying to get your attention. So, how can you tell if a relationship is damaging your self-esteem? Jung gives us a clue. Pay close attention to how you feel after interacting with someone. If you feel drained, anxious, or like you need to wear a mask, that's a sign. It's not that those people are bad, it's that something in that dynamic isn't aligned with who you truly are. And here's the key. Your self-esteem doesn't depend on changing others. It depends on deciding who deserves a place in your life and how you're going to protect your energy. Let's take a quick pause, breathe, and think of someone who makes you feel that way. Who comes to mind? Maybe it's your partner who never celebrates your achievements, or a friend who only calls when they need something. If you want, share it in the comments by saying, "This happens to me with," and how it makes you feel. Your stories not only connect us as a community, they help this message reach more people who might need it. And if this resonates with you, give it a like and share it with someone who could benefit from it. Together, we can help change lives. Let's go back to Carl Jung. He said, our relationships reflect our unconscious, including the shadow we mentioned earlier. If someone constantly irritates you, say a co-worker in LA who always cuts you off, it's not just about them. Jung would ask, what part of yourself are you projecting? Maybe it's your fear of not being heard, or your frustration with not setting boundaries. The good news is that once you recognize it, you can change it. Instead of blaming her, ask yourself, what do I need to feel safer? Maybe it's being clearer next time, or simply walking away from that kind of energy. Now let's talk about self-love, because for Jung, that's the root of real self-esteem. Picture Claudia, a 29-year-old woman. She's been dating someone for months, who treats her well sometimes, but never commits. Every time she tries to talk about it, he makes her feel like she's overreacting. Claudia stays because she thinks, this is better than being alone. But deep down, her self-worth is falling apart. Or think of Luis, a 37-year-old man, stuck in a job where he's constantly overlooked because he believes there's nothing better out there. Both are sacrificing their essence out of fear of being alone. Carl Jung would call that betraying your unconscious. Here's a practical tool: boundaries. Jung may not have used that exact word, but his idea of individuation, the process of becoming your true self, includes it. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's telling your unconscious, I matter. If Claudia tells her partner, I need clarity or I'll walk away, she's choosing peace. If Luis tells his boss, I can't take on more projects without support, he's claiming his dignity. Try this. The next time someone crosses a line, say something simple like, this doesn't feel good to me. I'm going to need some space. And then observe how you feel. Your self-esteem will thank you. Now let's go deeper. Toxic relationships. Carl Jung believed that sometimes the unconscious uses chaos to wake you up. Think about a couple like Carla and her boyfriend, who argue all the time. Every conversation turns into a fight, but she stays because she loves him. Or picture Pedro, a 45-year-old man whose business partner constantly makes decisions without consulting him. They're both stuck in patterns that scream, let go, but fear holds them back. Jung would say, those obstacles are messages. If something constantly drains you, It's not aligned with your path. So what do? You let go. That's not giving up. It's freeing yourself. When Carla broke up with her boyfriend, she cried for a week, but then felt a relief she didn't expect. She started writing poetry again, something she'd forgotten she loved. Pedro ended the partnership, and though it was tough, he now works alone and feels calmer. Letting go isn't easy, but Jung said that doing so creates space for what truly belongs in your life. And when you do that, your self-worth grows because you're telling yourself, I deserve better. Let's pause again. Imagine letting go of a relationship that weighs you down. What would you do with that free energy? Maybe you'd pick up an old hobby like painting, or just rest without feeling guilty. Leave a comment telling me what you'd do if you dared to let something go. And if this video is resonating with you, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Let's keep growing together. Now, what happens when you surround yourself with people who truly uplift you? Jung spoke of synchronicity, those moments that seem like coincidences, but carry deeper meaning. When you align with your truth, the universe answers. Think about Carolina, a 31-year-old woman. She left behind a group of friends who constantly judged her, and just a few weeks later, she met a mentor who helped her launch her jewelry business. Or Daniel, a 39-year-old man who, after distancing himself from a toxic friend, started crossing paths with musicians who invited him to play. That's not luck, it's synchronicity. It happens when you choose relationships that honor who you are. Here's another insight. Your relationships don't just affect your self-esteem, they shape your dreams. Jung said that the people around you impact your psyche, your mind and soul as one. If you're close to someone who doubts you, like a mother telling her daughter, running a business isn't for you, those messages seep into your unconscious. But if you're surrounded by those who believe in you, like a friend saying, you've got this, your confidence skyrockets. So ask yourself, who is lifting me up? Who is holding me back? Let's take practical action. Make an inventory. Grab a sheet of paper and draw 2 columns. People who give me energy and people who drain it. Be honest. If someone's in the second column, you don't have to cut them off immediately, but begin to lower their influence. Say no to a plan or spend less time with them. Notice how you feel after a week. This is Carl Jung in action, aligning your life with what nourishes you. Before we wrap up, a final thought. Your self-worth isn't a gift others give you. It's a spark you ignite by choosing who gets to be close. If this is resonating, comment with one word: energy. And if you want more people to discover Jung's secret, share this video. In the next part, we'll explore how to take this transformation to the next level with clear steps to start living from your authenticity. If you're still here, it means you're ready to make the final leap on this journey with Carl Jung. And I'm thrilled we've come this far together. We just uncovered how your relationships shape your self-esteem and how choosing the right people to surround yourself with can truly change everything. Now we're going to end strong by exploring what it really means to live from your true self. That deep place where your self-esteem doesn't just grow, it becomes unshakable. Jung left us a roadmap for this, and today I'm going to walk you through it with clear steps, real examples that'll touch your heart, and a message you won't forget. Let's start with something direct. Authenticity isn't a luxury, it's your right. Jung believed that the goal of life isn't to fit into what others expect of you, but to uncover who you truly are and live from that place. He called it individuation, the process of integrating all the parts of yourself, both light and shadow, so you become whole. And what does this have to do with self-esteem? Everything. When you live as someone you're not, your confidence collapses. But when you accept yourself as you are, no masks, you become unstoppable. Think about it. How many times have you changed something about yourself just to be accepted? Picture Lucia, a 27-year-old woman. She loves dancing salsa, but she stopped because her friends said she's too old for that now. Or think about Raul, a 44-year-old man who keeps his dream of writing a book to himself because his family thinks it's not a serious goal. Both of them are dimming their light out of fear of judgment, and their self-esteem feels it. Jung would say, that's not living, that's surviving. The real question is, what part of you are you hiding to please others? So here's the first practical step. Reconnect with what you love. Jung believed your unconscious speaks through what excites you. If something lights you up, painting, singing, even cooking, it's not random. It's your essence asking to come out. Try this. This week, spend 15 minutes doing something that fills you up. If you're like Lucia, dance in your living room, even alone. If you're like Raul, write a single page without judging yourself. Notice how you feel afterward. That little spark you feel? It's your self-esteem saying, thank you for seeing me. Let's pause, take a breath, and reflect. What lit you up before fear or shame got in the way? If you feel brave, share it in the comments. I'd love to know. Your story might just inspire someone else in this community. And if this video is sparking something inside you, hit like and share it with someone who needs this push. Together, we're building something powerful. Let's go back to Jung. He believed that authenticity not only connects you with yourself, it transforms your entire view of the world. When you start living from your truth, you begin to notice synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences that feel like signs. Think about Anna, a 33-year-old woman. She walked away from a job she hated and started selling handmade crafts. Not long after, she met someone at a market who introduced her to a shop owner. Or take Jorge, a 38-year-old man who had ignored his love for photography for years. One day, he picked up a camera, and soon after, he was invited to exhibit his work. That's the universe responding to their courage. And yes, it can happen to you. But listen, this isn't about instant magic. Jung warned that the journey to authenticity includes shadows. Letting go of old things, a relationship, a job, a belief, can really hurt. Think of Carla, a 40-year-old woman who ended a long-time friendship because it always made her feel small. At first, she felt lonely, but later, she began attracting people who truly valued her. Or Esteban, a 35-year-old man who left a secure job to follow his dream of becoming a chef. He had some tough months, but now he owns a food truck. Carl Jung would say, chaos is the cost of growth, but the peace that follows makes it all worth it. So how do you face that chaos? With reflection. Jung used a method called active imagination, basically, having a dialogue with your unconscious mind. Here's a tool. Grab a notebook and write a question like, what's holding me back? Then let your hand answer without overthinking. Don't judge it. Read it, then ask yourself, what can I do with this? I tried this once when I was doubting a major life change. I wrote down, I'm afraid I'm not enough. Seeing it in front of me, I chose to move forward anyway, and my self-esteem grew from facing that fear. Let's go deeper. Your dreams. Jung believed the unconscious pulls you toward your purpose, even when the world tries to push you away. Think of Sophia, a 29-year-old woman who wanted to be a designer, but her family kept saying, "Study something practical." She became an accountant and felt empty. One day, after a vivid dream where she was designing clothes, she decided to try. Now she has a small brand and says, "I've never loved myself this much." Or Daniel, a 41-year-old man who left his office job to teach surfing, something he had loved since youth. His confidence didn't just grow, it became his power. Let's pause. What dream have you been hiding? Maybe you wanted to start a business, travel, or learn something new. Leave it in the comments. Let's keep exploring how to live fully. Now let's talk about emotional chaos. Because Jung believed that's where your biggest transformation happens. Have you ever felt fine one day, and the next, everything feels overwhelming? Picture Anna, a 36-year-old woman. She used to fight a lot with her partner and felt drained. One day, instead of reacting, she sat down and wrote out what she felt. "I'm scared he doesn't love me." That sentence pushed her to speak honestly. Not everything got fixed, but being real brought her peace. Or think of Juan, a 43-year-old man who felt like a failure after losing his job. He took time to reflect and realized it was a chance to start something of his own. Chaos isn't the end, it's the beginning. Here's one more thing you can do. Embrace the mess. Next time you feel lost, don't run away. Sit for 5 minutes and ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Maybe an argument shows you need boundaries. Maybe disappointment shows you're looking in the wrong place. Jung said, "There's no awakening without pain." But that pain leads you to your true self, and with it, your self-worth becomes rock solid. Let's close with something powerful. The world needs your light. Jung believed that when you live from your truth, you not only transform, you inspire. Maybe a friend started painting after seeing you pick up a hobby, or a colleague switched careers because you dared to do it. Your authenticity is contagious. So, why not start today? Choose one small thing. Say no to what drains you, or do something you love without guilt. Watch your confidence grow. Before we finish, a reflection. What is your unconscious asking of you today? Maybe it's letting go of guilt, chasing a dream, or simply loving yourself more. If you'd like, share it in the comments with "Today I Choose." Thank you for staying until the end of this journey. If this video brought you clarity, like it and share it with someone who needs to hear this. This message isn't just for you, it's for every soul seeking something real. Jung reminded us, what the answers aren't outside, they live within. Your worth isn't measured by applause, but by how deeply you listen to yourself. In these 3 parts, we explored how embracing your shadow, choosing uplifting relationships, and living authentically can transform your life, effortlessly and from within. So today, I invite you to act, release what holds you back, to hug what ignites your soul, and watch how life responds. Take just a moment. Imagine your life if you allowed yourself to be 100% you. What would shift? That's your true power, and it's been waiting patiently for you. If this resonated with you, leave a comment sharing your takeaway. Subscribe, turn on the notifications, and share this with someone ready for change. Together, we're creating a community of brave, authentic souls, ready to shine. Change starts with you. See you in the next video.